you. My name is Christine Tuhy, and I run a real estate brokerage here in Minneapolis called Honor Our Mother Earth Home Realty. And then also a little intentional community urban eco farm in formation as a partnership with UBUNTU here that goes by currently the name Eden. That's who I am, and this is Violet, my little girl. And so I've been to Pure Bliss with Trigby, and I went one additional time. We went as a group, and then I went one additional time by myself. And when I arrived, the first thing I did was go into the little workshop. Have you guys been to Pure Bliss? Okay, good. And the workshop had people sewing, and people making t-shirts, and people painting, and people molding clay, and there's a potter's wheel, and there's music, and it's just a beautiful collaborative environment. So I'm excited about that. I don't know what was covered, so some of this might be repeat, but UBUNTU Minneapolis and Neo Eden are invited to participate in the Divine Spirits Wonderland Festival. You already talked about that, probably. Oh, okay, good. And this is in Waubun, Minnesota, which is about 4 hours and 15 minutes away from here. And it's gorgeous. Open prairie and narrow gravel roads and wildflowers and quiet. And the opportunity, there are two things. It includes a booth for UBUNTU and then a workshop or multiple for Neo Eden, One Small House. And the festival dates are the 23rd through the 26th. Now the name Neo Eden, One Small House is referring to the partnership between UBUNTU and Neo Eden. And One Small House is, you'll see a picture on another slide, but that's my house where it's a project site. All right. Who's involved? Pure Bliss Ranch, you've already heard about that. Divine Spirits Wonderland, that's the name of the festival. And UBUNTU, that slide didn't get finished. Two opportunities, UBUNTU booth and the Neo Eden workshop. Now on the van ride up for the UBUNTU booth, we created the outcomes we'd like to see for the project. And these are the things that we created. Teamwork, that UBUNTU Minneapolis works together like a well-oiled machine. Contribution, Pure Bliss Ranch is delighted and grateful that we came. Mission, we have fulfilled and embodied our mission statement. She went over what that is?
I didn't directly, no.
To create projects, to collaborate on projects that contribute to prosperity and self-sufficiency. Pretty close? It's new.
Okay, I'll just take this out. It's to strengthen our self-sufficiency.
There we go.
To strengthen our self-sufficiency by cooperating on projects that contribute to human prosperity. Short sentence.
That we have fulfilled and embodied our mission statement. And membership, that contributionism, that's supposed to say contributionism, makes a splash in North Dakota, Minnesota, and all right, so this is the slide I need to edit. Hold on. There are 4 criteria. Why don't you go ahead and explain what the 4 criteria are while I make the edits to the slide to be power.
Okay, so she's referring to a kind of a decision-making scheme called swarm-wise, where the swarm is, I did talk a little bit today about the 51% versus the 49%, and how every time 49% of people lose, you got 49 losers, 49% losers. In the swarm-wise theory, you would have projects that you want to promote, and people just come to it. They're just attracted to it. If they are, they participate. If they're not attracted, don't worry. In order to have something be the 4 criteria of having them be something that people want to participate in are tangible, credible, inclusive, and ethical. So if you got a tangible project, I mean, it's like you can see the beginning, the end, you can sort of envision what it's going to be like. You've got a credible plan. It looks like you have enough, let's say, money or people or time. With enough people, time, and money, you can do anything you want, basically. So if it's credible, people believe it could happen if we're actually going to, let's try this, but I don't want to try something that doesn't seem credible, because it's a waste of time. And then if it's inclusive, and inclusive is all about when people are like, everybody can be in it. I was thinking about this just the other day, how there was a thing on YouTube videos where you pulled up the blanket and then you, for the dog would be looking at you, and then the next time you pull the blanket, the guy's gone, and the dog freaks out. Well, this started happening, and everybody's doing it now, to make these little videos of freaking a dog out. And that's inclusive, right? That's like, I want to do that too. And Epic, when we look at that 10 kilowatt windmill, I consider that pretty epic. Yeah.
Heroic and legendary. How's that?
Yeah.
Inspiring, huh?
Legendary.
There we go. All right, thank you, Trinity. Ben, don't pull on me. Stop. No. Okay. So here's a project that we've talked about. It's called One Tiny Home, along the theme of the one small town, one small house, one tiny home. And my computer crashed last night, or froze rather, not crashed. And so I decided to make a display board for you to look at, to see, to get an idea of the project. So a lot of it's smaller prints. I guess it can kind of circulate, and I can kind of point out what the different parts are as people are looking at the small print and passing it around. The RV makeover project, One Tiny Home. You can see there's a picture here of solar panels. Things are labeled. Guest bed. I have a 1984 Winnebago.
Are you sure you built it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have somebody fixing it now to get it up and running, and it's supposed to be done by the 23rd. Cool. So I thought maybe we could connect with people like you guys who know and make it awesome.
Well, this is what we were trying to do with this one.
Yeah, so that's actually something we're transitioning into is we're focusing on getting a small bus, but the difference is that the small bus doesn't already have a bunch of crap in it.
Yeah, it takes more conversion.
Okay.
So, but it's really not that different, I guess, than making overnight beach.
So the benefits of the tiny homes, they have a low footprint, they promote adventure and relaxation, they support group intimacy, they're fun, they carry food and essentials, and they can move around. Oh, you want me to hold this up? Okay, good. Got it. They can move the vision around, because the tiny home concept, did you go over that at all before I was here? Fine, okay. So the tiny home concept comes directly from contributionism from Michael Tellinger, and it's using a new structure to applying a new structure to already existing infrastructure in small towns that are declining in population, so that we can change the systems, how they are, to something that moves communities away from money and frees people from debt slavery, so we can have a chance at some stuff, right? So I'm imagining that there are going to be little villages like this all over the state, and we're going to need to move people and food and all kinds of things around, and ideas, because we might want to become a little more discreet about communication at times, who knows? And we might want to even know how to drive from point A to point B without a computer telling us how to get there. Who knows? You know, these are handy things to know. So I think that this is a project that supports that kind of education on the ground. This is a picture of me driving it. Now I'm open to sharing it too, so like whatever. And it could be parked at my house, and people from Pure Bliss, when they visit, can stay there. The code says go bliss or go home. because I'd like to have it ready to go to the festival.
You guys have what ready to go to the festival, the RV?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd
that
like
needs to
to-
be done soon.
Yeah, I'd like to take it there and the mechanics are supposed to be done by that date, so it's drivable, and then maybe we could do some of the other stuff up there, I don't know.
Chris
If you
is
feel
a
free.
carpenter, so
Early?
anything that needs to be rebuilt physically
like
on the
before.
inside, Chris and I can absolutely
Okay,
work on that. These two are really good at designing
Yeah, we're
things.
designers and decorators, so we can
Okay.
help with the aesthetic of it. Also, I'm an illustrator, so if we wanted to visualize ideas before actually following through on them, we come up with sketches.
that would be great too, okay, good. Then maybe if there's anyone here who wants to help move it along to meet a deadline of arriving earlier, we might be able to do that. Without help, I don't think we would, because the guy fixing it's, well, he's a new connection, we'll see. He's a great guy, so it'll all go great, I'm sure. And it'd be good to have some support. Okay, this is the booth. Trigby has some blue paneling.
Yeah.
Temporary
Easy-
pop-up stuff?
Easy up with walls and a couple of tables, a little smaller than this, but it'll make a booth.
Yeah, and one cool thing about this group is everyone has their own projects, because people are really thinking, and so everyone has kind of their pet ideas. So I thought this booth could be a place. This is a picture of Trigby's chili. This is a picture of Kelly's salad. I called it fellowship salad, because Kelly always uses the word fellowship, and I told him you're never going to attract anyone under 40 if you use that word. So I thought we could call it fellowship salad for fun. This is a seed library. We have, who's our member that's Anne's project. This is a one small town map. I thought we could display that.
Oh, that'd
So
be
people
great.
come to our booth, they get, by looking at our display, what Ubuntu is, what's happening with Ubuntu Minneapolis, what's happening with Neo Eden, what could happen with Pure Bliss. Martin's totally interested in partnering with us. They need just a few residents there to make a majority vote in their township. So there are a couple things really of importance to him right now. The first matter of business is protecting the crops, protecting his land from the chemicals being sprayed on the properties that butt up against it. So that's kind of his number one priority. And we thought if we could do that right through the democratic process, like, how great would that be, right? This is the Bubble Princess. Who knows who? Princess Bubblegum. Who knows who that is?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just presenting it to who knows. That's
The cartoon is amazing, very innovative and
Yeah.
beautiful.
so that's Neo Eve's alter ego. It's Princess Bubblegum. This is a hypnosis chair. I do hypnosis. I thought it'd be fun if I could do that out of the RV. Rocket stove. I thought if all the materials could be, reused materials, and it could just be a really intelligent design.
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys already know. Yeah. This is just a little section where I wrote kind of what I wanted to update you guys on about what's happening at Neo Eden. I'm just doing a lot of thinking about the name, because Kelly was pointing out it's confusing to have Ubuntu and Neo Eden because they're so similar. What are the differences between the two, and how do we convey that to the public? So I'm just really open to suggestions about that right now, because I'm going to be going more public with it soon and looking for funding for my projects and talking to investors or maybe crowdfunding, things like that. So I want to get the image like really down pat and work with designers and things. So any feedback, just reach out to me.
Quick question, so
Yeah.
what's the scope of Neo Eden, or I see Neo Econ, so it sounds like,
Yeah.
is it Walden too in the modern world?
Well, I would say it's neo-econ is my ideas about how I think economy should be, basically. It's just a way I play. It's like a pen name kind of thing. And this is going to be the subject of the next full moon feast and forge. We have gatherings once every full moon to just raise awareness or engage in some kind of learning workshop about a sustainability initiative. And I want to talk about economy for the September full moon. And then I just had some ideas about what I thought Ubuntu's upcoming focuses could be at different meetings. We've identified a razor sharp business plan as a really important next step for us. So I thought if we had 1 month to focus on that, and then if we went to talking about what kind of entity we want to form, because my understanding is you need to choose, it's one of the parts, you just got to have a nonprofit or a for-profit or some kind of a entity. And then a membership process. Who are the members, who are the leaders, what are the roles of the group, just to give it some definition. And then what I call a futures document. A futures document is just, in the world of project planning, creating the future that you're living into. Just to give yourself focus in the present. That covers that. I'll pass this around for a closer look. If you have any questions, feel free to bring them up with me. Yeah, I just envision a lot of tricks in that thing, a lot of bonding, a lot of R&R, so that people can connect and relax. It's really nice.
So our vision is like a caravan, because every person has like projects that they share. Like, he's a carpenter, she's an herbalist. You know, I practice Reiki and massage. He's a visual artist. We make stories together, and everyone kind of has like things that they would need. And if, you know, I'm into herbalism and et cetera, so like we can't have everything we need in a tiny home, but we can travel together and have like plots of land in different states.
Like a gypsy caravan.
Yeah, exactly. And so then we can like meet up and be like, hey, everyone in Colorado, we're going to this consciousness festival, so all of our group can caravan together and be like, kind of circle the wagons and be like, this is what we're up to, you know?
Traveling
So-
stable community.
I can see some way that this one tiny house could build on that, like, and like one of the simplest conduits would be to build like a really simple website that goes by that name. I don't know if you'd be able to pay for the itself, but you can build like a Wix website where it's like, you know, one tiny house at Wix or whatever. And then that way with that URL on the vehicle, then you're drawing people to like a paragraph right up, and that paragraph leads to a website about Ubuntu, leads to a website about eating, and it's just, it could be as simple as just one page that explains it better.
Yeah.
And just the URL will like pique people's interest,
Yeah.
but also then it could get people to just completely independently follow that same model and do the same thing, like remodel one tiny home for themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on a second.
And, you know,
Yeah,
feel
it's a
encouraged
model,
by like
yep.
you sharing photographs or whatever through that.
And that's what I left out about UBUNTU too, is that I have in mind as a
So-
model for houses, just like you're saying, this is.
I have Melissa on here. She just wants to say something to all you.
I can see.
Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
Hey guys, so I'm super happy that those four made it out. So thank you guys. Especially because I'm just looking at my text messages now, I'm realizing I did not give Chris the address. So he made an extra effort to find you guys. That's awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, help.
And I'm super excited. So these guys know, pretty much what's going on with the festival. They know Pure Bliss Ranch. Chris can run it by himself, he pretty much did at Earth Rhythms. We all kind of took turns doing it. So, yeah, they're my voice. Hair's my second voice, it's a joke in our family, the second voice, because she always keeps me in line, but she always also can speak for me too. So, yeah.
Okay.
Just whatever ideas will go between. Christine, I definitely want to get together with you somehow via phone or whatever. And I'm going out Wednesday to Pure Bliss, and I'm going to be there until the festival. And Martin said anybody is welcome to come out. So if there's an open invite for anyone to be there, and the more the merrier. But otherwise, I have faith you guys are doing everything as it needs to be, and I love you guys. Sorry I couldn't be there. I'm in the car driving to my Mankato right now. And yeah, have a good day, guys.
Okay,
Thanks.
great.
Thank
you.
Awesome.
Any questions?
No.
We're okay.
Do you guys have any questions? I'm pretty
No.
sure Chris and Harry can answer them all.
Yeah.
I'll reach out, Melissa, with an email to everybody who's going to the thing so that we can
idea.
kind of get ready.
Yeah.
And that email can bounce around a little bit. Okay,
Okay.
see you up there. Bye.
Okay, love you guys. Bye.
Yeah, well,
Just little blurb about tiny homes and a picture of a cute one. This is a fun thing to look at online and fantasize.
Yeah.
And this is, yeah, so it turned into a big controversy. I mean, there were people who, basically just the tiny homes that he set up created, it required management, that's all. It created some issues like kids running around. It just required management. And so this, to me, really highlighted the importance of Ubuntu style communities because we can continue to care for people over the long haul. So things like that can work. This is a tiny home out of Canada called the Leaf House. It's 97 square feet. It's 40,000, fully mobile and insulated. But there's a place called Hutchinson Homes out of Park Rapids. I think that's the right name. I'm not entirely sure. I went by memory on that. So they sell these really cute sheds, and they're much cheaper than any of the ones that I've showed you so far. And I think they'd be great options too to make into, you know, like there's a mobile one. And, I don't know, maybe we could design another one that's more, because the 1984 Winnebago, that's a certain really retro look, but you can really make a fancy, cooler looking one too. Martin thought that we could, try not to cut his picture off like that, but he thought maybe we could build them a lot cheaper than they're selling them for at that place. We could put pop pan solar collectors, maybe we could put earth insulation, I don't know.
You can build out of what?
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
an incredible amount of options for inexpensive materials for building. You can build out of just about anything as long as you have the proper frame for things.
And there's this talk about using tiny homes to address homelessness. I really think that's a very interesting concept because part of homelessness obviously is wellness issues. And, you know, people's families help each other and then the government helps each other, but it's not working really. So we kind of need to be more proactive about addressing each other's wellness issues. And that's really what homelessness is telling us, right? That's what it's telling us. So with a setup like my house where I have rooms at Airbnb, if we had a few tiny homes for people to move through as needed, I don't know, I just think it could be cool. It could be just a really neat new thing. These are the displays that I thought we could have at the booth. One tiny home, well, we don't need a display because the RV is the display and it's there next to the booth, you know? One small house. We could have a board, some pictures or whatever up about that. And then we could have a concept for one small town at Pure Bliss, what that would look like. And people imagine that. Here's the other display ideas that I had, fellowship salad, terrific chili. I just named her chili. We could do something better. One small town nap. Whatever else. Does anyone have anything they'd like me to put in there right now? That there's a project that maybe you have that, oh, kombucha, right?
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Some kombucha there.
You got Scobie.
I do, yep.
We were like, we were talking this last week, like, we just need to start making our own kombucha. 'Cause it's just
Yeah.
So then I would just want to ask you guys if you think this project meets these criteria. Is it achievable?
Yeah, just
all day. You're not talking about kombucha making? Everything.
No, the RV.
The RV project, it's definitely achievable. It's definitely inclusive.
Yeah.
And,
Oh yeah, because this slide's wrong.
yeah, from what I.
Achievable, inclusive,
Incredible.
credible, tangible.
yeah, so it's, I mean, if you get it running,
Guess I made that up.
Especially if it's like, more.
I mean, even if you don't get it running,
Yeah.
the inside process takes absolutely, it could be completely gutted and have no engine, and we can still make the inside a livable home. It doesn't have to even be mobile for it to be a livable space.
Yeah.
So that is absolutely 100% achievable. We would just need location and collaborative material collecting, because materials would be the most it would be the only thing that really costs money. And if we could find everything as recycled and reused and, you know, things that are being thrown out, whatever, as possible, then we could make it incredibly sustainable.
Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to show Trigby. I'm sorry, can I get back on there for a second?
One thing too, with like the whole, it doesn't have to have an engine, doesn't really need to run, the only thing we really need to take into consideration is transportation. And if anybody happens to have these big trailers, I mean, we can, you know, put together and say, hey, let's load this up, let's get it up there. We can either build it there or build it down here. We can always just take the tires off and leave it as is and set it up as a, you know, just like a house, you know, this is just a bus house that sits on Pure Bliss or something, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, the mobile, yeah, because I think the mobile, you know, mobile aspect of it is going to be really important for people who, you know, want to travel and want to get out and move them, like, you know, hey, I don't belong just here, but like, you know, we go all over this place like this.
I think that's why having a prominent URL that so people are like curious, like you're not just somebody living in an RV, but you're like doing something, and that brings people around to like finding out what Ubuntu is and then setting up.
Yeah, our biggest stumbling block in our journey so far has been a mechanic, because we make friends with mechanics, but then they're so busy, it's hard to, you know, get the work, because we don't participate in like the normal economy, so we don't have money ever. So it's hard to find a mechanic to do trade, because we're mechanically minded, not so like our spirituality minded. So I guess we need to find those kinds of connections and share them, you know.
Yeah, I might have a mechanic who's interested in trade.
Cool.
Yeah. Just the only other things I wanted to say is that, you know, I have a little time bar here at next steps now. I would need to, I thought we would need to make a list of the process. I mean, if one of you wanted to take a leadership position on the project, yeah?
So,
Okay, great.
I'll just throw it out real quick if you want. For those, because none of you guys really know me, I was an Eagle Scout at 14, and I did this series of projects that were called, it was the William T. Hornaday Award. If anybody's familiar with the Boy Scout program, the William T. Hornaday Award is a conservation award where you basically do like eagle projects with research and education components and stuff, and like they have fall under a certain number of categories. I literally did 5 of these things. So I know how the process of writing down all the information that we need to know, gathering our volunteers, materials, figuring out all of our costs, our budgets, soliciting donations from wherever we have to go, and then actually implementing it all, and then drawing conclusions, figuring out, hey, this work, what we need to do, what follow-up we need to do. Like that is something that I've been experienced in as my youth. And so collaborating with people who actually, you know, have the drive to make these things happen, I think it's certainly possible that we can, like, you know, take all these materials, all the supplies we would need, all the tools, anything like that, and just write it out, get it in a format. We could even have a format, use a similar format to like the Eagle Scout workbook, where they have like, this is what you need to do for your project. But the idea is like, when you have it where you're working on an Eagle Scout project, you should be able to hand your book to anybody and be like, do this project, and they should know exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
So you're able to create like an outline for like, hey, this is, if you want to build these things, if you want to build water filtration systems, if you want to build garden beds, this is the process, this is what you need. You know, you can make alterations, you know, wherever necessary. You can use recycled materials, but like, it'd be nice to like get some stuff in writing of like, you know,
That
like
would be a good resource to keep in the Ubuntu community, so
Yeah,
anytime
that's
someone
exactly
comes
what
to
we
a
need.
meeting of any kind, you just open up the book, do you want to do any of these things?
It's like where.
Yeah.
And didn't you say you can make it digital too, so that it
Yes,
can
I
be
can do
spread across the
illustration and
world?
design that could bring the project through, so it's like even before anyone actually does anything, if all the plans are together, those plans would include realistic illustrations of what to expect. And that's like, I think, way easier to follow than just, you know, like if you've ever tried to repair your car with one of those manuals that's all words and no pictures, it's like, where's that YouTube video?
Wow, you guys are like kindred.
The perfect fit for what we need right now.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, oh, go ahead.
I saw on your design that you're envisioning a hypnosis chair.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have it? I actually have one.
I don't have it.
Would you like one donated?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. What are the chances that you showed up here today with that information?
Yeah, it's pretty random. Yeah,
It's actually a special kind,
it's special.
but you can share it with
Yeah.
It's not just a relaxation chair, it's got something to disrupt a person's fight or flight response, and put them into an altered state. So it may or may not be compatible with your modality.
You can look at it and see.
Yeah, okay, well, we don't need a fight or flight response in the reality, I can tell you that.
Let's disrupt that.
This is, just in my research, I came on to this site with this woman who made, she knew nothing, she had no experience at all. And she made her own tiny home out of a RV she bought for $1,900. She calls her RV Commander. She calls it Mander. And I included links on this presentation that I can share with you guys too. It turns out she's from Minnesota, which is super cool. And she's really charming and it's fun to watch the videos, so you might like that. She earns $240 a month on Patreon. That's just one Minnesota girl who didn't know a thing about a thing when she started and sweated and cried over it a lot because she didn't have UBUNTU. And she did it. And those are her sites to follow, her Patreon, her blog, her Instagram. I emailed her too to let her know what we're doing and see if she wants to check it out. Computer's super glitchy. But you guys, oh, there we go. Just, there's a list of partners. I did mention the Guerrilla Gardeners group. You guys haven't seen anything from me on that yet. It's a text message thread, so if anyone wants to participate in it, you can text me your number and be on the list of people who will be called on for sudden gardening needs. Any questions? Okay, good, thanks.
Thank you. What's her name? The nurse. Florence Nightingale actually upped the ante with a much better quote. She said, "Proceed until apprehended." I like that. She inspired me. So, thanks so much. Give me cards, give me slips of paper if you're interested. But I just want to throw it open now for final questions or discussion. And just, Trigby, tell me what time to stop. I mean, I got us back on schedule if you want to stop now.
Let's go another 10 minutes or however many questions.
If there's questions, yeah. Comments, questions.
So I have a question about accumulation of script. So take, for example, Amazon. I don't know if you get Amazon to take partial script, partial dollars, but
It could when it gets popular enough.
Or a company like Home Depot, let's say. So all of a sudden you've got the big dog in the room, and they start to accumulate a lot of script.
They can't.
Why not?
Because remember, it's an accounting tool. It's issued, it's redeemed, and we take it off the books. The network, which by the way, it's going to be owned by its participants. That's where the blockchain comes in. I haven't said a lot about the blockchain and decentralized apps. Usually it just confuses people. And if you notice, New Economics is confusing enough. But do you want to riff for a minute on the blockchain and why, decentralized apps put the power in the hands of the members and not any big player?
I'm not a crypto guy,
Okay.
but what it sounds to me like you're describing is, let's say I do some housework. I let you know. You transfer or create script in my account. I take that script and dollars and go to Home Depot.
Precisely.
And then Home Depot then
Keeps the cash.
and cancels out, or
We cancel out. See, we're in charge
so Home
of
Depot
the
then
transaction.
lets you know that the transaction is, or automatically
We
through the
know
software.
because you go up to the Home Depot register with your mobile app, and they flash what's called a QR code. You've sometimes seen a deal they turn around the screen, or it's hanging on a piece of paper in a coffee shop. We look at the QR code with the mobile app. It goes, okay, that's a script deal. I'm at Home Depot. It's a script deal. Let's say,
and then it zeroes out the balance.
and they get the cash. We get a transaction fee, and the script disappears.
Yeah.
See, again, the whole reason you get inflation and recession is you got money over here and you got goods and services and commerce over here, and they can get out of balance. But if you issue money in relationship to available capacity and you disappear it with consumption, you are actually, for the first time in human history, creating an intelligent currency that keeps goods and services and money in balance, and you don't need a Federal Reserve to do it. You just issue it, redeem it, and disappear it.
I didn't realize from your presentation that the money disappears after Home Depot takes. So Home Depot just wanted the $12 instead of 12 plus 8.
Precisely,
No,
that's the
okay.
nature of discounting is already well established. If every retailer could get 100% retail price, there'd be no such thing as Groupon, Travelocity, discounts,
Right.
Coupons. What's our favorite local coupon book? Chinook book.
Yep.
None of that would exist if merchants could get as much business as they want. But I didn't put it in this presentation, but in my white paper, what happens is if 3 restaurants are doing well, 8 more jump into the neighborhood, and pretty soon you got 10 pizza joints, 12 hamburger joints, 15 Asian food restaurants. Every bar's got a kitchen, every employer's got a truck outside and vending machines, and often an employee cafeteria. Every grocery store's got a deli, and now a coffee shop, and often a restaurant, and trucks outside. So the point is that free enterprise creates more and more capacity, but win-lose competition over money fails to distribute it. Have you ever seen wages rise with growth in the economy? No, that's why I started out with, this goes in layers, but why I started out with the example of the sharing economy is massive new wealth came into the economy, but we didn't feel any richer. That's because there were winners and losers through the distribution of money. The wealth grows and the money flattens things and sometimes crashes things. In fact, here's another way I'll say it. Everything that produces wealth is only improving dramatically and faster. Technology, infrastructure, human skill, knowledge, and creativity, our ability to use raw materials and energy sustainably. So is our standard of living and quality of life rising at the same? No. The standard of living and quality of life for individuals, families, and communities goes like this and sometimes like this. That's what happens when you take wealth creation capacity and wealth itself and filter it through win-lose competition over money. That's the paradigm shift, folks. From win-lose competition over money to win-win cooperation over high quality of life. And from a grow-or-die business model inherited from scarcity to a sustainability model that makes sense for people on the planet. Am I getting worked up a little?
Great to see your passion. I'm just curious how when the script gets initiated to people by either riding their bike or cleaning their house, how are you going to prove that they did that?
That's the role. You said, I didn't want to interrupt, but you said, so I report that I did some housework and I get some script. So that's why there's an intermediary in every area of life. Schools reporting on behalf of students. The welfare system reporting on behalf of stay-at-home moms, let's say. Community organizations which will blossom for all these extra roles, reporting all these extra activities. So we have the relationships with them. Now, can you trust anybody these days? Why would this work? Well, number one, if you give people a chance to do things right and fairly and they don't need to cheat, overwhelmingly, the honor system works. On the other hand, have you ever seen how part of the sharing economy is this reporting system? The driver reports on the passenger reports on the driver, the homeowner reports on the guest reports on the homeowner. Without carrots and sticks and Big Brother, we're able to flag anybody who's out to screw people, whether they're on the consumer side or whether they're on the merchant side. It's, we're not using any of this. Like I said, we can tally the vote in 5 minutes on any issue in the world using the same technology as Dancing for the Stars. We're operating, folks, at probably 1% of our capacity. We're not using technology to actually maximize the efficiency of wealth production and distribution. We're certainly not using it to make this a truly democratic and participatory society. These are all areas of growth and entrepreneurial opportunities for improvement of our system through mass participation. Thank you. I appreciate all this time.